All right, so you can see we're going to start on the dashboard here. And the very first thing we're going to do is we are going to start and create a new project inside of RedTeam. There are a couple ways that we can do this. We can navigate towards the project tab here on the left-hand side. So we'll click in there. We're going to see a list of our active projects right here. And then we can also click our add new button right here. We're going to see this throughout RedTeam anytime we're going to add any new documents or anything into our system. We can also use this shortcut button up here at the top where it says add new. And then we're going to have this project button right here. So we'll go ahead and click here. Both are going to bring you to the same exact form. So you'll notice in RedTeam, a lot of our forms to build our documents will look very similar to this. You're going to have your text fields, and you're going to notice a few different icons. First that we're going to mention is this orange asterisk. Now the orange asterisk indicates any necessary information that needs to be provided in order to save and kind of commit this project or any other document. You're going to see this question mark. So this is going to let you know exactly what RedTeam is looking for. So if you ever have a question, let's say you're not entirely sure what we mean by customer, if you just hover over that question mark, you'll be able to see a definition of what it is that we are looking for. And the last on this page, you're going to see this scroll. This means that this information will be displayed in your plan room and in RFQs going out to your vendors. So we'll go ahead and begin. Our first field here is going to be our customer. So we are located in Central Florida here. So I'm going to go ahead and use Disney as our customer. Popping on down, we're going to have our facility. Now with Disney, there are multiple parks. So we want to kind of indicate and narrow this down a little bit more as to who exactly we're working with. So within Disney, we're going to be working with Epcot. So one of the specific parks. We're going to choose one of our contacts. Now it's going to give us contacts that are already listed for this customer, but you do also have the option of adding a new customer contact if needed from here. So we'll just go ahead and we will say Mickey Mouse is our customer contact. Then you're going to come here and you're going to name your project. So we're going to build a nice Italian restaurant called La Mangi Trattoria. Right down here, we're going to select our manager. That's going to be your project manager for this project. So we're going to go ahead and choose myself as project manager. And then we're going to have our work location. Now this can be the same as the facility, but if you do want to narrow it down more, you can. So let's actually say we're going to be working in Epcot in their Italy pavilion. So just to narrow down that work location a little bit more. Now you're going to see we have some fields. They don't have the orange asterisks, but it is additional information that you can build for this project. You're going to see your pre-bid date, your bid date, your pre-bid time, and your bid time. You can fill those out as needed. In this box here, you're going to be able to put any performance constraints that you need. If there is limited parking, let's say on the job site, you can indicate that there if there needs to be parking on a certain area. This is a good place to put any of those constraints. Down below, you're going to be able to see kind of the schedule that you would like to work with. So you can select your work days right here, your work times, sorry. So you'll just scroll through. If you want work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., you can go ahead and choose that. Do you want to allow work on Sundays, on Saturdays, on holidays? You can check those as needed. Then you can also have the option of allowing work outside of the start and end time, allowing work in excess of hours. So in excess of these workday hours. And then we have this option here to skip pre-construction and proposal process. Now, if you are kind of adding a project that is already started and you don't really need to do all of the estimating and all of that, you can go ahead and skip pre-construction. It's going to go ahead and move this project directly to in progress. And then last, you're going to have a field here where you can go ahead and give a work description of what this project is going to be. So once you've filled out all your fields, we're just going to go up to this blue save button and we're just going to select save. Now this is going to pop up with a confirmation message. Whenever you save anything in RedTeam, you're going to get this confirmation. that whatever you were working on has been completed. So now we have our new project number right here, and it's going to give us a few actions. These will be different depending on what it is that you are saving. So right now our actions are we can create an action item from this project creation, or we can just go ahead and close, which is what we're going to go ahead and do right now. And then this will bring us directly into our project. So we'll come up here, we'll hit our back button so we can see all of our buttons here. It's going to bring us to our project dashboard. Now, the first thing that I want to take a look at is up here is our project status bar. You'll notice that there are 5 statuses for our project to go through. So first, we're going to start out in draft status. You'll notice we don't have a lot of tabs up here. So there's not a whole lot that we're going to do in our draft status. We can build out our project team. We can go ahead and edit and take a look at our project scope information. And then we do have access to our dialog tab within the draft status. A good way to take a look at what you do have access to also, if you hit this home, anything that is not grayed out is what you're going to be able to accomplish inside that draft status. So first we will take a look at our scope, and we'll take a look at how to edit. So we're going to come to this blue edit button right here. You'll notice our first header here is details. Now this is all of the information that we filled out previously to create this project. If you never need to change any of those details, you can edit, come into this section and change those. Note that the customer does not have a field to change. Once you have created the project, your customer is set in stone. So just keep that in mind when you're creating your projects. All of the other information can be changed. So we'll scroll down. Next header is going to be include in plan room. So you'll see here we have some information pertaining to our plan room. We can select what we would like shown in our plan room. So you'll see here you have the option of plans and specs, your submittals, your RFIs. So you'll take a look through here and you can check and uncheck as you would like them to be seen in your plan room. And then also the option of securing your plan room here. And then you do also have an option of adding attachments that will be shown in your plan room. Next heading is going to be our other preferences. Here you're going to indicate whether you want to use automatic issue numbering right here. And then you also have the option of selecting your lien law. If you're using BIM 360 or level set, you're going to have preferences right under here that you can take a look at. You're going to have some preferences for your response RFIs that you can take a look through here. And then last but not least, is going to be additional information that you would like for this project. Now, all of this can be configured through your configuration menu. And then they're just text fields here that you can go ahead and add. You'll see here, you'll have the option of indicating whether or not they will be included in your plan room in RFQs. So when you're done with editing your scope, we're just going to hit save again. And that'll save any of the changes that you did make. Next, we'll take a hop on over here to our team tab. We're going to come here to our manage menu, and we're going to take a look under members. So this is how you're going to be able to build your project team. So you're going to see, let's collapse these really quick. You're going to see we have a couple of different categories for your team members. So you have your service provider. So these are going to be the employees that are working for your company, your customer contacts, any third party. So maybe any of your architects, your engineers, just anybody where there is no money really involved. You have an other category if they don't fit into any of the other 4. And then your vendors. So these will be your subcontractors here, anyone that you are paying to do work for you. Anytime that you need to add a team member or anything, you're going to go to this plus button right here. And you'll see you have headings to add service provider, add customer contact, add a third party, add other, or add vendor contact. All righty. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to promote this project to our request stage. So all we're going to do is we're going to select on draft. And then right here, where our change status, we're going to promote. All right, we're going to get a confirmation message here that we did promote that up to our request. We're just going to close that out. And now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and take a look at adding any plans and specs. If there are any questions about creating a project, please feel free to go ahead and use the chat option on that screen. And we do have Sarah. She'll be answering any questions that you may have. All right, so a couple of ways to get into our plans and specs. Again, we have this home icon up here. Under pre-construction, you can select plans and specifications. Under your scope, you can also use this manage button here. And the second one down is going to be plans and specs. Again, they're both going to bring you to that same page. So you'll notice here we end up on an empty page since we have not added any plans and specifications yet. So we're going to start off with our plus button. Like I said, you're going to see this throughout RedTeam anytime you're going to add any new information. So we're going to select add new, and we're going to add plans and specs. Now this is going to bring us to a form that should look similar. Again, you're going to see those orange asterisks and those question marks wherever they may be needed. So first we're going to choose an author for our plans. So we're just going to go with 10,000 volts architecture. Our version number, this can be anything that you would like. I'm going to go 001 since this is our first. Our date that we are submitting these, I'm going to go ahead and leave it as the default of today. You can always click this calendar though and change that to whatever you'd like. You also do have the option of typing that in. Now these next fields are optional. We have our type. So is this a drawing? Is it a specification? We're going to go ahead and say they're drawings. The discipline here, they're architectural, we'll go ahead and say. And then any notes you might have about these plans or specs that you're uploading. Next, we're going to actually upload the file. So we have two options here. We can either split the pages or we could not split the pages. What this will do, so if you have multiple files that you would like RedTeam to upload, and you do not want them together as, let's say, a manual, you can ask RedTeam to go ahead and split those for you. If it is a manual and you do not want those split apart, again, you'll just add those to the do not split. You'll notice down here, it says the file size cannot exceed 250 megabytes. That is just per file. You can upload more than that into your plans and specs, just not more at one time. So let's go ahead, we'll go into split pages, and I'm just going to add one page for now. So we see here that I have my file, and I'm just going to go ahead and start our upload. Now this is going to bring me back to that same plans and specs page. And it's going to take a second for it to start uploading. I have just one, so it may not take too long. If you do have a few though, feel free to step away from your computer if you need to or anything, or work on something else. You will get an email from RedTeam when it is ready to review. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and refresh my screen. We'll go back. Okay, you can see it is processing. So we'll give it just a couple more seconds. All right, so now this is what it's going to look like when it's ready to review. You're going to see here that I have one file when I uploaded it, and it'll say ready for review. So we're going to come all the way over to the right-hand side to this blue review button and go ahead and select that. Now it's going to bring us to this page where it's going to display all of our plans and specs. We're going to have the option to go ahead and number. We can name. It's going to auto-populate some of the information we filled out earlier. So our author, our version, our type, our discipline, and our date. We can edit those if needed at this point in time. For numbering, if you want to go ahead and click into your plans and specs, we do have the option to select an area. So you'll just select this area button right here. It's going to give you a cursor, and you just go to the area where the page number is. So we'll create a box around it. Now we can say apply, and that'll just pull the number for this one page, or we can apply to all. So if all our page numbers are in this area, it's going to go ahead and scan that area and pull the number for all of our pages based on this box here. Now you do also have the option of adding your number manually if needed. So we'll go ahead and say ours was A-2.0. We can name this here. I'm going to go ahead and leave all of the information here as is, and we can add a description if needed. So I'm going to go ahead and save. And you will see again, we have this confirmation message here saying that our specification was created. Again, those action items you'll see are different. We can create a new specification and action item, or we can go ahead and close. So we'll go ahead and close right now. And we're going to be taken back to that main plans and specs page. All right, so you'll see now here, we have our name, our discipline, so that architectural that we selected, the date, the author, the version number we added, and then you'll see the status. You'll see that this is in draft status right now. So that means nothing is set in stone. Another good indication is the green text. Anytime you see the green text on these pages in RedTeam, that is going to indicate that this file is in draft status. So what we can do is we can go to our tools bar right here and we can take a look. So you will be able to view while we're in draft status. We can edit while we're in draft status. So we can edit any of those fields that we would like. When we're ready and we are ready to commit this, this line item, we can go ahead to our tools bar here and then right over to commit. That's going to set that in stone for us. So now you'll see that text turn to blue, our status changed to committed right here. All right, another thing that we can do with this, with these plans and specs, if we go right in here, if we click on the name, you're going to be able to view. So now if you had multiple plans and specs in that list, you can use this drop down to toggle between them and view different files. You're also going to have the options to mark up and attach any files or do any red line markups. Now, any of the changes that you make here, so any of the markups, the attachments, this is going to replace that original file. So you'll have here these tools that you can go ahead, you can circle. You have tools to add images, stamps. You can also add any memos into this. Okay. And then the option for a text box right here. So once you publish this, it's going to give you that warning that this will be the published version. It's going to replace your current file. It'll ask you if you want to continue. So we'll go ahead and say yes. And now when we go back into view, you're going to see those markups that we made. And now this will be the original file here that you'll see. All right, so for plans and specs, that is going to be it. Now we're going to take a look at creating an addendum. It is a very similar process. So again, we're going to go up here to our plus button. Sorry, we're going to go over here to our manage, and we're going to go into our addendums. From our addendums page, we're going to find our plus button to add new. All right. Our first box is going to be our general box. So it's going to have a reference number for us. We can have a client reference number. This is going to be 01. Since this is our first one, our addendum date, we'll go ahead and set that as today. And then you can go ahead and set any instructions in this box here. Now this is where it starts to become similar to adding your plans and specs. We're going to add our information right here. So our author, we're going to go ahead and choose our version number. We'll just go ahead with 001 again. Our date, we can select the type and the discipline. And again, these are optional. And then we can go ahead and add our files just the same. And then we'll go ahead and hit our start upload. Again, that's going to bring us back to that main addendums page. What we're going to do is we're going to wait for that review button up at the top. So we can see that it is now processing. Here we will leave this page and come back. Just give it a couple more seconds. And again, the same with plans and specs. If you need to walk away and do something else while they are loading, you're uploading a few at a time. We'll send you an email when that is finished. So you'll see mine is completed. I have the one file. It's all going to read the same. It's going to let me know it's ready for review. So I'm going to come over to my blue review button. Now you'll notice this is also very similar. We can go in, we can select the area that we would like for numbering, just the same. The only thing different is going to be this supersede section right here. Now we can leave that on no discipline. This says no discipline. That does not mean that we cannot fill out anything here in our discipline field. This just means that there is nothing that it's going to supersede. But we want to go ahead and say this addendum is going to supersede here our plans and specs that we just added. So it's going to give us our number, our name, our author. Again, any of this information we can go ahead and change if needed. And then we're going to hit our blue save button. We're going to close our confirmation page. We're going to see that this is in draft status. We are good to go with everything. So we're just going to go to our tools bar. We're going to commit. We're going to select OK. And now we see that this is in our committed status. Now, when we go back to our plans and specs, now it's going to look a little bit different. So we're going to see our original file here, and then we're going to see that there is an addendum attached to it. So we're going to click in here. So here is our addendum. Now we also have the option of comparing the original file with the addendum. So we're going to select compare. Going to give us here our current view, and we're going to go ahead and say we want to compare it to our original. All right, since these are identical, it's going to align the documents, and then we'll be able to tell and pin wherever any of those differences are for us to kind of compare the two documents here. We're going to back out of that. And that is going to be it for plans and specs. Do we have any questions on those? Or are we good to go, Sarah?
Currently no questions. Sorry, I was reaching for that mute button.
It's okay, no problem. Perfect. All right. So now we've done our plans and specs. We're still in our request stage. We're going to hop over to the right to our estimate. Now for our estimate, we're going to start with our direct costs. So those are going to be adding our cost codes. Again, you're going to see this plus button right here. We're going to select that. We're going to go down to the option to add our cost code or assembly. All right. You're going to see right here, we have the option of selecting a phase of a project. Now, if you aren't using phases in a project, you do not need to worry about filling that out. But this is if you want to go ahead and phase out your project, you can add new phases, whether it be building 1, building 2, or any type of phase indication you would like to put here. You're going to have the option to search cost codes here. You can also come down here and search by division with a list. Or right here is going to be a full list of your cost codes. All right. So for this sample, I want to go ahead and add the concrete cost code. We're going to select this. You can also select as many cost codes as you would like, and that will add that to your estimate. We're just going to do the one for now. We're going to close that out. So you'll see our cost code here. our description, which is concrete. You're going to see a quantity, which is 0 right now, our unit of measure, which is set to lump sum. And then you're going to see all of our cost categories right here, the labor, material, subcontract, equipment, and other. So what we're going to want to do is select this arrow and drop that down. Now with our cost codes, we're going to build assemblies. With concrete, we want to be able to maybe break that down and make it a little more detailed. So we're going to go ahead and add a few line items here. We're going to say with our concrete cost code, we're going to need concrete mix. We're going to need some forms. And then we're going to also want to look for the labor. Now with our concrete, we're going to want to put a quantity in here. We're looking for 1 lump sum right now. Now, per line now, we're going to take a look at our concrete mix. We're going to choose a category. We're going to say that this category here is a material. We're just going to purchase the material. Our quantity right here is we are going to say we need 500, and what the unit of measure is going to be is pounds. So we'll come right here. And now we want to go ahead and put in our unit cost. We're going to say that it is $1.50 per pound. And now you'll see that it'll do that math for us. In our material cost category column, you'll see that $7.50. So we will do the math of the $1.50 per pound for 500 pounds. Now about down to forms. Again, we're going to say that this is a material cost. We are going to say that we need 1. And let's go ahead and say we want to do a lump sum. And our lump sum is going to be 1,500. Again, you're going to see that pop into our material cost category because we did choose material right over here. And last, our labor. We're going to select our category, and we do have a labor category. All right, we're going to say that we need 240 hours. And it is going to cost us $45 per hour. Now you'll see for this line item that it did pop into our labor cost category right here. Now you're going to be able to take a look here. If you want to go ahead and close that back up into the cost code, you'll see for 1 lump sum of concrete, for our labor, it's going to cost us $10,800. For our material, $2,250, and it's going to give us a total. Now, if we ever wanted to change this quantity, we have a couple options as to what the numbers below it will do in the assembly item. If you click on this little shopping cart right here, you're going to see the option to make quantity non-variable or make quantity variable. It's going to default to variable. So what that means is if I change this quantity to 2, you're going to notice the quantity of my concrete mix, my forms, my labor, all of my assembly items will adjust accordingly. So go to 1, we'll leave that. Now, if we decide to make that quantity non-variable, you'll notice here, our concrete mix is non-variable. It did not move. However, the other 2 did adjust accordingly. So however you would like that to be, again, it's going to default to being variable. We'll change this back to 1. All right. And now also, we only added 3 assembly items for this sample. There could be a greater amount. So if you do find yourself using, let's say, this assembly build out pretty frequently, you do have the option of adding and saving as a master assembly. So that means that the next time that you come in to do a project and build an estimate, you can go ahead and pull this assembly and it'll make it just a little bit easier for you. So we'll go ahead and save as master assembly. So you'll see here, master assembly concrete 4 has been saved. And we'll take a look at what that looks like. So we'll go to the same option, add cost code assembly. We're going to search concrete. We're going to select, close, and you'll see that that assembly is already built out for us. Now we can change this sum here. You can still change any of the unit costs if you need to. You can change the quantity and even the unit of measures. It just helps you build it out a little bit quicker. So we're going to go ahead and delete this. Okay. Now for direct costs, the last thing we're going to take a look at is the subtotal line here. You're going to see the subtotals for all your labor, your material, your subcontract equipment, others if you use those, and then your total right here. Now you're going to see your indirect cost right below, and then your indirect cost allocations. So this indirect cost number is dictated by your indirect cost allocations. So you'll see 10% of this subtotal direct cost, and it's going to put the 10% right here. And then we'll get a total of direct and indirect costs right below it. Now these allocation rates can be changed through your configuration menu. When you set your allocation rates, however, that is going to not be per project, that is going to be per database. So if different projects you have different allocation rates, you can set them all to 0. And a good way to kind of make up for that is going to be use our supplemental markups, and we'll take a look at that in just a second. So our supplemental markups are going to be any indirect costs. So they're going to be a percentage of any cost above. So whether it's a percentage of labor, whether it's a percentage of total cost, it's going to be a percentage of something. So you'll see here, these kind of defaulted onto my list. But let's take a look at our general liability. Now to add these, you can always go to your plus button here, add a supplemental markup, and you're going to see here, there's going to be the number, which is kind of similar to what a cost code number is going to be, your description, and the cost category that it's associated with. These can be set up in your configuration menu as well. So we're just going to take a look here at our, I said general liability. You're going to see here that we're going to take 0.6% of total direct, total indirect costs in fee. So if you need to, let's say, set up your indirect cost allocation rates, and these are set at 0, then you can go ahead and set that up down here in your supplemental markups. You can choose the percentage you would like for this project, and you can make it a percentage of your labor category or your material subcategory. Any questions on the estimate?
No questions at the moment.
Okay, perfect. And last thing we want to take a look at are the types of proposal. So we're going to be working with a fixed price proposal for this project, but do know that we do have 2 others. We have time and material and construction management down here. If you would like to get more information on those, there is a wiki article inside of our help center that you can take a look at. And then you'll see here, you're going to be able to adjust your fee by percent of total cost or percent of total price. Alrighty, and that is it for the estimate. So what we're going to do is move on to our request for quote. Now, again, as with everything else, there are a couple of ways to access this. We can go to our home button and select request for quote right here. Or if you would like to, if we're in our estimate, we can actually select our cost code that we're looking to get a quote for, and we can add an RFQ. We're just going to go ahead and select that there. It's going to bring us to the same page either way. All right. And you're going to see a very similar form. So our first step is our general information that we're looking for. So we're going to select the cost code. Now our drop-down menu is going to give us cost codes that are planned for this project. So we're going to go ahead and find our concrete cost code. If there is not a cost code in this list that you're looking to get a quote for, You are more than welcome to click here to see more cost codes to add to the project. We're going to select our category. So we had material and labor inside of our concrete. So let's go ahead and take a look at material we're looking to get a quote for. The requester, it's going to go ahead and default to me that it's signed in, but you can always change the requester. Required date, so when do we need this by? We're going to go ahead and give them a week. And then it's optional. You can go ahead and select required time. So I do need to get that in and ready by the 9th. So I'm going to say I need it in by 12:00 p.m. You can add any special instructions here and then any attachments if you would like. One thing to note here is that your plans and specs are going to be automatically attached to this request for quote. So this is going to be anything additional on top of that. Now, step 2 is our search criteria. So this is where we're going to search through our vendors to see who we're going to send our request for quotes out to. It's going to pop our cost code down here for concrete. Now, this is going to be set up inside of your vendor profiles. Down at the bottom, you're going to see your trades. You can set up trades for any of your vendors so that it makes it a little bit easier for you in this request for quote process. To narrow down any vendors you might like to send a quote out to. Same with qualifications. So you see qualifications are another form of breaking down your vendors, whether it's by building type, by location, project size. These can be added into your configuration menu as needed. You'll see a couple other filtering options. So within a certain distance of a certain postal code, whether you would like them to have a certain credential in a certain county, state. So when we have all of our filters that we would like, we're going to go ahead and select search. Now that's going to give us a list of vendors that fit all of this criteria up here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look through and see who we'd like to send our quotes to. Now there's a few pieces of information on here. You can take a look at your vendor name, where they're located, their rating. While using a vendor through RedTeam, you're going to have a couple of moments throughout a project to rate your vendors, your contacts, and any notes that you might have about the vendors. So I'm going to come through here. I'm going to choose Able Pavement and let's see, concrete construction. I want to send RFQs out to them. Now, if you have a vendor that you would like to send an RFQ to and they are not in your database, you can always add a new vendor right here. Now, not only is that going to add them so that you can send a request for quote, that is going to add them into your vendor profile or your vendor section under companies. So we're going to save. Again, our confirmation page, we're just going to close for now. Now it's going to bring us back to our main manage vendor quotes page. You're going to see that these are in draft status. They are green. Our status right here is going to show they're in draft. And our type, you're going to see that they are still requests for quotes. We can view them if we'd like, make any edits. What we're going to do is we're actually going to commit them. Now you can commit them one at a time through your toolbar if you'd like, or you can go ahead and select all and just commit. We're going to select OK. Now, if you'd like to view what it would look like, here is our request for quote form that will go out to your vendor. So you're going to see general information, the to and the from, your RFQ information. Most of this is going to be pulled from your project scope. A list of your plans and specifications is going to be right here for them to take a look at. All right, and when we're ready, we can go ahead and send our emails out. Again, you can do it one at a time, or if you'd like to select, we can go ahead and email all at once. This is going to give us an email box. Now you're going to see 1, 2, 3 boxes. We have 2 vendors. This top box here is going to make changes to both of our email boxes down here for both of the vendors. So that's going to be a subject, any CCs you would like to add, or any messages. Again, this is going to make sure that these are the same. It's going to drop them into both email boxes. Now, if you would like to make anything specific to a certain vendor, you can find their box. You can add a specialized subject, change who this is to, or add a CC, and add a special message if you would like. When you're done with all of those changes, you will just send this out. Now it'll be a waiting game. Your vendor will go ahead, answer you through email, and you will get that back. For this training, however, we did not send out that email. So what we're going to do is manually add that answer in. So we're going to come to our toolbox and we're going to convert to a quote. Now our request for quote information is going to auto-populate to what we filled out previously. Our default cost code here is going to be our concrete. Our material is what they're bidding for. And we're going to say they bid $2,200. Any notes that the vendor might have had. And then our status. When we save this, do we want this to go to draft status or committed? I'm going to go ahead and just say committed for now. Now, if your vendor did send you a manual quote, you would just go ahead and add that file right here. So we're going to go ahead and add this. And then we want to choose which assembly items were included in their quote. So we're going to say concrete mix and our forms, since those were both materials. And we're going to save. Now you'll notice in the type, this said RFQ previously. Now it'll tell us that it is a quote. And then we're also going to see in our bid, we're going to see an actual number here. Now, if you are doing bidding outside of RedTeam or you are, again, catching up on a project, we do have the option of adding an unsolicited quote. Now, this is going to look very similar to what we just did when we added a quote to our already present RFQ, except we're actually going to fill out the information in this first step. So we're going to select our vendor. We're going to select our cost code. So we're going to find our concrete, our date, our contact. We'll go ahead and say that is Sarah. Our default category here, so it's that materials is what we're looking for. Our bid amount, go ahead and say 2,500. We're going to select our requester, so who from our company actually requested this quote previously. We'll say I did. Any special instructions that were given. And then again, if we want to save this into draft status or committed, so we'll select committed. And then again, here we can add our attachment. So they sent us a physical quote. We're going to go ahead and add the file. We're going to add their quote. And again, here we're going to choose the assembly items that they did send a quote in for. And we will save. Now you'll notice when we go back to that main screen, it's going to look exactly like we did previously. So it'll come in as a quote and we'll have our total right here. Now, once we get back all of our quotes and we're getting ready to go ahead and decide who we want to go with, what we're going to do is come to this star here. Any star will work. So we'll select right here. Now, what this is going to do is give us a side-by-side comparison of all the quotes we received for our concrete cost code. Now, just going through what some of the items on here are, we're going to have our cost code. Below it is going to be what is included in our assembly. So we have our concrete mix, our forms, our labor. Then we're going to have the cost categories for each of those and the estimated total. Now, right up here in each column, we're going to have each of the vendors that we received a quote from. So you'll have their name, their vendor rating. Right below that, you're going to see the items that they did send a bid in for if there's a check mark. So they both did send a bid in for concrete mix, and they both sent a bid in for forms, and we noticed neither of them sent one in for labor. Now moving down, we're going to see our quote amount. So this is our estimated quote amount right here. And then this is what we received from our vendors. Our excluded items, you'll notice that 10,800 matches our labor since none of them bid on the labor. That's going to be our excluded item here. And now our comparative value to our total is going to end up right here, and that will give us our over under. So you'll see here with our first quote, we are over $625 and over $325. Now with this button right here, we're able to go ahead and download the actual quotes and view those, and then we'll be able to view any notes. Now from here, this next part is optional, and it's going to be selecting as best. Now, when we select as best, it's going to affect two things. It's going to affect our estimate, and then it is going to affect our actual proposal to our customer. So for now, we're just going to go ahead and select able pavement as best. So what this is going to do, give it just a second to catch up. Perfect. So what this is going to do is now plug in this amount right here. So this 2,200 into our materials. So we're going to take a look at what that looks like. Let's go ahead and close. We're going to toggle back into our estimate. Now you'll see that there are two line items for concrete. This original line item is what we had before. You'll notice only labor is left since we do not have a quote for labor. The one below it is going to be our quotes for our material that we received. So you're going to see our unit cost. So this is what the quote that we received. All the way over, you're going to see the vendor that we received that quote for. Now where this comes in handy is this will update your estimate to match what was quoted to you. Now, if you wanted to keep it at the original price and leave any padding, this will not allow you to change the price at all. So once this is selected as best, all of this becomes uneditable. Now you do have the option of always going back. So we'll toggle back here to our vendor quotes. You can unselect this as best. And that'll change your estimate back to the original estimate. So here we go. So we'll go ahead and select this as best again, and then we'll take a look at what we can do with it inside of our proposal. We're going to go into our contract tab. We're going to select edit. And right down here in attachments, we're going to be able to select selected vendors to attach to our customer proposal. Now, this is going to show any vendors that we selected as best so that the customer can actually see the vendor quotes for those vendors. So again, if that is not important and you would not like the estimate changed, you can always go back into your vendor quote page and unselect as best. Let's go ahead and let's do that for now. Alrighty. So any questions on the request for quotes or unsolicited quotes? All right, perfect. So last thing we'll take a look at is our actual proposal. So once we've completed our estimate, our plans and specs, our request for quotes, and we're ready to kind of send off that proposal to our customer, we're going to remain in our request status. We're going to go to our contract tab. And here we're going to go to edit. Our proposal details are going to be right up here. So our proposal format, our name, all of this information, our proposal date. We're going to have the option of linking our estimate to this proposal, or we can unlink our estimate. Now, when we link our estimate, we do have a few options. For scope of work, we can do it by cost division. So you'll see how that is laid out here. By cost code, by assembly, or we can just go ahead and write in our own narrative, our own work description here. We're just going to go by cost code. You're going to have the option to add any text here. You'll just use your drop-down menu and select the text that you would like. We're going to leave ours empty for now. Going down, we have our proposal expiration. So this is how long this proposal is good for. This is going to default to 30 days. You can change this to whatever you would like. Our proposed project duration, I'm going to say it's going to take about 540 days. Now here we can go ahead and enter either a proposed start date, or a proposed substantial completion date. Again, both of these are optional. We're going to go ahead and give a proposed punch duration. I'll go ahead and say it'll take 10 days. Again, some more optional fields. Liquidated damage is substantial or liquidated damage is final. Your billing terms will go ahead and default to net 30, but you can change that. And your retainage, you can go ahead and adjust here if you'd like. You can add any comments and then also add any pre-selected default clarifications. And then you do also have the option of adding any new clarifications and any amounts if needed. Right below is going to be our proposal attachments. So like I said before, we do have our selected vendors that we can add. So again, anyone that we selected as best, you can add your plans and specifications to your proposal as an attachment. If you've already gotten to your schedule of values, you can also add that to your proposal, but we'll take a look at that at a later date. And then also any unit prices you may have set. Right at the bottom here, you're going to have the option of attaching any additional documents that you would like that were not already included in this. So we're going to go ahead, select save. Now this is going to bring us back to this manage contract page. Now, typically with any documents or anything we make inside of RedTeam, we would come to our tools bar and commit. With our proposal, in order to set this in stone, we're going to promote our project to proposal. So up in request, we're going to select that. We're going to select promote. Alrighty, so we'll get that confirmation that our project has been committed. We're going to close. And now we're kind of in a waiting stage of whether we get the thumbs up or thumbs down from our customer. Now, if we get a thumbs up, everything's good to go. We're ready to move forward. We can come to this proposal. We can promote our project. Now, if there are any changes that our customer would like us to make or that we need to make, we can also demote this project back into request and make those necessary changes. Any questions on the proposal?
I am still not seeing any questions at the moment.
And that is it for project startup part 2. So if there are any general questions, we can go ahead and take those now. And if not, then that is all that we cover. Alrighty, fantastic. Well, thank you all for attending. And again, we will see you next time for our project management part 1. We look forward to it, and I hope you have a great day.